Welcome to the Clarity in Your Calling workshop. This is all about getting clear and confident on where God is leading you. So, about this workshop, I need you to understand that this is a process and I need you to trust me. Some of the things that will be going through the workbook that I have for you in the downloads is going to feel uncomfortable. It might make you think a little bit. I'm going to make you stop for a second and pray and listen for God's voice, but I need you to trust the process. So, all you need to do is download the workbook so you can work through as you watch the workshop. And then you're going to watch the lesson. And then I want you to pause each lesson at the end of it and work it in your workbook. This will be the only thing that will get you through without just pushing this aside and not doing the hard work. And then when you're done with each page, continue the workshop, press play, and go on to the next thing. So if you haven't already, go ahead and click the link, the download link at the side of this video, and go ahead and download the Clarity in Your Calling workbook. It's best if you print it. It living on your desktop is really not going to do any good. And I suggest you print 2 copies. Have one copy where you brain dump, brainstorm, kind of a rough draft version, and another copy after you've prayed through each one to make it prettier so that you can look back in it and be reminded of the thing that God is calling you to and why you're putting in the hard work to do it. Here we go. What is the point here? What's the point of doing this workshop when I think we have a pretty good grasp on maybe what God's calling us to do? Here's the thing. If you feel called to open a business, to host a retreat, to start the ministry, to lead the Bible study, the enemy is going to come after you with a raging force. And he's going to confuse you. He's going to distract you. He's going to make you feel super insecure about the thing that you're doing. So, the point of this workshop and the point of you putting in the work isn't to waste your time. You will, though, waste your time, energy, effort, and money if you don't put in this hard work at the beginning. If you don't get clear, super clear, and confident on where God is leading, you will build things that were never meant for you to build. You will do things that you were never meant to do. You will potentially create and serve and waste time on doing things that aren't directly from what God is calling you to. So, let me remind you, the work that you are called to is from God. And God will bless if you're totally, totally, totally surrendered and walking with Him. And my prayer through this workbook is that it will help you get to that point of getting clear and having confidence and getting clarity in the next steps that you need to do. So, first things first is we are going to gain confidence in who you are, how God has uniquely and specifically created you to be. Because here's the honest truth: God has created you with specific strengths and specific passions to serve a very specific group of people in a very specific way. The way that you do something, the way that you see something, the way that you view the world, the way that you explain or teach or preach or share is different than every single other person in the entire world, in the history of the world. And so I want you to be confident in God's masterpiece. That's you. And this little Venn diagram that I created will hopefully give you some clarity on what your potential best business idea might be, or your best ministry idea might be, or the best product might be. And so basically, what this is doing is it is overlapping your passions, your strengths, and how you already help people. So, what are your strengths? Let's start with there. Your strengths are what come easy to you. That might be you. Something that might come easy to you is scheduling, organization. It might be your strength, might be creating content. Your strength could potentially be that you are really good at communication. Okay. So, what are your strengths? What comes easy to you? It could be leadership, it could be anything. This might be something that you get some help for because you sometimes are too close to your strengths to even see what they are. So ask your spouse, talk to your friends, your best friends, talk to other ministry leaders, like what they see over you. What are your specific God given strengths and abilities? Write those down. Okay. Now, what I want you to think about are your passions. What do you enjoy doing? What do you enjoy reading about? If there was a random Saturday you had nothing going on, what would you study or read about, or what would you geek out about? What is something that you could talk about for hours and hours, or what is something that you could do for hours and hours without feeling drained? Because those are your passions. Write those down. Now I want you to think about, how do you help people? You do help people. You have to think about this. This might be harder for some of you and I've talked to you, you're like, well, I don't think I help anybody. You do help people. And again, you might need to get your husband or your spouse or your besties and ask them, like, hey, how do I help people? What do other people say that you're good at? How have you helped people in the past? Write that down. And where those overlap in the middle could potentially the thing that you're called to do, the thing that would be a really good and passionate business idea for you. So spend some time doing this, pause this video, and pray about these three things: your strengths, your passions, and how you already help people. All right, now let's dig into the clarity cycle. So if you're in the knowledge business course, we are creating a knowledge business framework. But before we do this clarity cycle so that we can make sure that we are following what God is calling us to do, and that we're not just making stuff up on our own, and we're not doing things our own way. And so it all starts with the first three steps: surrendering your way, journal and praying, and dreaming really big. So here we go. Step one is always surrender. Surrender it all. You are called to do something big, something that you know you'll need God's help with. You'll need God's guidance. You'll need His strength to pull it off. So before you begin, I want you to write down the lies circling your spirit, and then I want you to replace them with truth. So what lies are you believing? What lies keep popping up and keeping you up at night? I want you to write those down, and I want you to put that at the feet of Jesus. I want you to give that to God. And then I want you to replace it with truth. Replace it with God's truth. So first step is, I want you to pray about, you can pause this video if you need to, the lies that you are believing. And then I want you to replace each of those lies, scratch it out, and remind yourself of what God says is true. And I have written down a few of God's truths that you can be reminded of. If you need to screenshot this so that you can write it down and kind of keep it next to you on your desktop, you can do that. But here are just a few. God has hundreds and thousands of truths, but these are just a few that you can be reminded of what God says about Him, and what God says about you, and what God says about what He has called you to. And I want to leave you with this as you complete this page of your workbook, Romans 8:28. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to His purpose. My friend, if you are listening to this, you are called. You're called to a very specific purpose. You are called to surrender first. You are called to know his word and to know him intimately. You are called to make him known with the gifts and talents and strengths that he has given you. And you are called to live abundantly, which means you are living in peace. You are living in truth. You are living in surrender. That is living abundantly. I don't want you to believe the lie. And this course is not here to make you rich quick. Okay. This is not a get rich quick course. This course, this workshop is being obedient in what he's called you to. And that is living abundantly. You living in obedience is a life abundant. You being dependent on your Father is life abundant. And that's what we're called to. So the next step in our clarity circle is prayer. So I need you, now that you've surrendered the lies of you doing your things your own way, of what you've been believing that the enemy has spoken over you, and you've replaced them with God's truth. Now I want you to remind yourself how big and powerful your God is. Tell him what you're feeling, tell him what you're thinking, tell him what you're struggling with, and ask him for help. And then thank him for what he's going to do for you and through you. So I want you to pause the video, take some time to pray. You can journal it out here in case you have ADHD brain or mom brain like me, and you kind of squirrel off sometimes. I want you to jot this down and write to God. Pray to God. Tell him what you're thinking. Tell him what you're feeling. And y'all, I do this every single morning. This is a great habit to start each day before you dig into anything that you're doing, especially this course, because you want God with you in this process. Remember, what he's called you to is his idea. So invite him in by first giving him your praise, your worship, your thankfulness, asking him for what you need, and then to continue walking in his will and in his purpose. So go ahead and pause the video now and pray. All right, friends, now it is time to dream. You've surrendered your life. You've surrendered the lies. You are fully present with the Holy Spirit. You are seeking him. Now I want you to take a minute and I want you to ask the Lord to give you a dream and a vision for your life and for what he has called you to. Okay? So here's what you can do. Here's some simple questions that you can ask. Where do you see God leading you as you close your eyes and as you dream? What are you doing? Who are you serving? What do you look like? What do you feel like? How are you spending your days? How are you serving others? Envision your best life, the one that you know God has planned for you and that God has had for you from the beginning of time. I want you to close your eyes and seek him in that. What do you see? Who are you? What are you doing? Don't hold anything back and write it all down as fast as you can. Once you've written it all down, I want you to just sit with God and pray over it. And know this too, you can take as long as you need for this. When I used to do retreats for my business girls, we would spend sometimes an hour just doing this. Put on worship music, spend some time with God. Don't rush this process. But when he gives you a dream and a vision, and when he starts speaking to you, that's when you start writing like crazy. That's when you go and write everything that you see. Write it down, whatever it is. It might look crazy, it might look silly to you. Just write it down. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to put on some worship music. I'm going to ask you to look at these questions and then close your eyes and dream. You can pause the video and begin. All right, my friends, now we're on to step 2 of the clarity cycle. And that is your vision, your why, and your mission for the thing that God's calling you to. Your vision, your why, and your mission. Okay. So now that you've dreamed big dreams, you might be feeling a little overwhelmed. But if we can organize it, make it tangible, we can continue praying about where God is leading. Okay. So take what you wrote down on your dream and organize your vision. So, what are you doing? Write that down in the space provided. Where are you doing it? Who are you doing it with? How are you doing it? When are you doing it? So this might not even be for right now. This might be a year from now. But when are you doing it? What does it feel like? And then what else do you see? So your vision is the unique, specific, and personal details from your big dream. This is where you organize your big ideas and dreams. This is where you put your hopes into bite-sized pieces and making your dream tangible so that you can take action on the things that God has given you. Your dreams are possible when you create the vision. And so here's the thing. When you do this and you are like me, you're going to want to create a vision board to remind yourself of what God is doing in and through you, because life can be busy. But if you create a visual to put on your desktop, you'll be reminded of why you're doing what you're doing when you want to quit or when the days get really hard. So, create your vision board in Canva. I've been super vulnerable and I'm putting my vision board right here for you. And I have the steps here of how to exactly create a vision board using the Canva program. It's free. Go to canva.com and download the app. You'll simply click create design, and choose desktop wallpaper. This will give you just a simple rectangle blank screen. And then on the left-hand side, click elements, and then you'll be able to search whatever was in your vision. So right now we are hoping to get a house. And so I just typed in house. Or for me, my vision was I was writing a book. So I put me and my literary agent down with a graphic of a book. I had a vision of me speaking, and so I put that there. I had actual pictures that I was able to upload. So you can just drag them around, make a very simple collage. You'll download it as a PNG file, which is just a picture. And then on the right hand side, if you right click on your new picture, you can set it as your desktop wallpaper. This is my current desktop wallpaper, and every time I open my laptop, I'm reminded of the dream that God has given me, and you can do the same. So again, this is going to take a little bit longer than the other things that you've been doing with this workshop, but it is worth the time. So pause the video now, go back here, organize your dream into a vision organizer, create your vision board in Canva, and then I'll see you in the next part. All right, I'm hoping and praying you did that assignment and you didn't just go straight to here, because I'm telling you, that's probably one of the more funner things that we'll do in this workshop. So don't skip that part. Okay, the next part of our clarity cycle, the clarity circle that we're going through, is your why. Your why is one of the most important things that you will create in this workshop. So, why do you want to do the dream God has placed on your heart? Why? The reason why this is so important is because when the days are hard, if you can remember why you're doing this and why you started, and why you're doing this for yourself, and why you're doing this for God, and why you're doing this for your family, and why you're doing this for the people God has called you to, This why is going to get you through the hard days, through the sicknesses, through the hard weeks, through the trials and tribulations. So I want you to just write down a couple reasons why this dream is so important for you to live out. Why is it important for you to walk in obedience? Why do you want to start a knowledge business? Why is it important for you, your family, your students? Take some time now, press pause on the video, and write down your why. All right, friends, we are moving on along to the last part of this phase. Remember, phase 1 was about surrendering and praying and dreaming. Phase 2 in this clarity circle we got going on is your vision, your why, and now we're going to talk about your mission. Your mission is your new filter that you run all of your decisions, all of your opportunities through over the next several months to help you stay focused on where God is leading. Okay, so again, I want you to see your mission as like the buffer statement, your filter. So whenever somebody asks you to do something or offers you something and it does not align with your mission, you can give yourself permission to say no. So here's how your mission works. You're going to talk about who you serve, how you're serving them, and your why you're doing it. And it goes like this. I serve, and then you enter the people God gives you a burden for. I serve single women. I serve um, I serve foster children. I serve entrepreneurs. I serve women in business. I serve lost women. I serve Christian women who are tired. So, who is it that God has given you a burden for? I serve ministry leaders. I serve pastors and pastors' wives. So, take some time, think about who you serve specifically. I serve married people. This is how you're doing it. This goes back to that vision board that you just made. How are you serving these people? What are you doing? How are you doing it? You might say, I serve Christian married people by offering coaching services, by leading them in Bible study, by counseling them. So, how are you doing it? How are you serving them? So that this is why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you doing it? Okay. For them. Why are you doing it for them? Why are you doing it for yourself? So I made an example here. I serve women who are called to lead and teach by offering courses and coaching so that they can do the thing they're called to do and serve the world with their gifting and knowledge. So here's just a quick example. Again, you can just brainstorm this for a little while. You can invite someone to help you if you're in our mastermind program. This is something that we can talk through on our next call, or you can ask some of your mastermind sisters about it. So, what is your mission? Write it down. And when you've kind of brainstormed in each of the 3 boxes, you can write your full statement at the bottom below. So take some time, pause this video, and work on your mission. All right, friends, we are in the final stages of the clarity cycle, and this is all about setting goals, making sure you have time to do the goals, and then what to take action on. Are we ready? Here we go. We are going to first make one goal. Just one goal. We're going to have a goal. What is a goal? Okay. Similar to your mission, your goal is going to bring down your big dream, your vision for your business, the mission that God has you on, and create an action, which are steps to begin taking. Okay. It's going to look very similar to your mission, except it's going to look a little bit like this. I will enter what you want to accomplish by give yourself a deadline, because if you don't put a deadline, it's not going to happen. So that why you are doing what you're doing. Again, very similar to your mission, except a little bit of tweaks here. Okay. I'm going to give you some examples because I feel like the examples help with this really daunting task of creating a small goal. Okay. So here's one that you can all write down. I will complete the Clarity Workbook by next week so that I can be ready for the next module and be prepared to learn more. So here's a very simple, if you're in the knowledge business course, this can be a goal that you set for yourself. Do you see how simple it is? It doesn't have to be huge dream goal. This is like taking the bite-sized piece of like, okay, what do I need to do right now? What is my very first goal? What step do I need to take next? And for most of you, it's going to be completing this workshop and completing the course. Okay, here's another example. I will replace the lies I believe with truth by the end of every morning so that I can be ready, be confident moving forward and where God is leading and where He's calling me to. Another one can be I will create a desktop vision board by tonight so that I can be reminded of why I'm taking steps forward in the knowledge business course. And then here's another example. I will launch my first course by January 2024 so that I will finally do the thing I'm called to do. So I want you to think about this. I want you to take one small goal, even if it's just to complete the workbook, write it down. And then I want you to pause the video and spend some time doing this. And again, you can repeat this. Oh, I actually need you to repeat this step over and over and over again. So if you need to jot this on a sticky note and put it in your Bible, or make this a sticky note and put it on your desktop. But this is how we're going to be creating small goals over time to accomplish your overall dream. Okay, so pause this video now and get to work. All right, now that you set a goal, now we're going to need to find time to do the goal. So, what we're going to do is we're going to try to find ways we can get back our time. So, what I want you to remember is that you can do anything. You can do the thing that God's calling you to do. You can do the dream that came to you that might have scared you a little bit. You can do it, but you can't do everything. You can't do all the things and your dream. You are merely human. As much as we want to pretend like we're superhuman, we are merely human. So here's how this works. And you might need a couple pieces of paper for this. But I want you to take some time and write down all of your personal activities that take up your time in your day. Yes, including social media and scrolling and Netflix and wasting time on the phone, like all of that. I want you to write down all of your personal activities. Okay. So that might look like carpooling the kids, driving to the grocery store and getting groceries, preparing lunches. It might look like paying bills. It might say that you bathe the kids, you take your own shower, you have your nightly routine. Like, what do you spend time in the course of the time you wake up to the time you go to bed for your personal life? Write down everything. Then, if you have a business, if you own a business, what are the things that you are responsible for and takes up your time in your business? When you do that, that's going to look like answering emails, marketing, social media, whatever it is, write it down. Now, what I want you to do is scratch out anything that you can eliminate altogether. So, if you're scrolling social media for 4 hours a day and there's a space in your phone that actually tells you how much time you're doing, maybe you need to take a season off of social media for a little bit. So, scratch it out all completely. If you're doing something in your business that is like silly and doesn't matter, and someone told you, some mentor told you that you needed to do it, and it's not producing any income or moving the needle in your business, just eliminate it altogether. You have the authority and the privilege to do so. All right, next is I want you to circle what it is that you can delegate or outsource to someone else. Okay, so can your mom carpool the kids? Can your husband do the laundry? What can you delegate and outsource? Circle those things now, and you have to circle something. Circle something and ask for help. God has provided people in your life to help you. Circle these things now, and we're going to delegate that. Now, what I want you to do is put a star next to items that you can automate. Can you start doing grocery delivery? Can you automate email templates for your business? Can you automate the payment on your bills? What can you automate? And this might be a little bit trickier and harder to think about, but what can you automate in your life and in your business? So, and again, this might take a little bit of upfront work, but it will release some day to day time from your life so that you can work on your goals. That's the whole point of this slide, is to create time, get back the time, be good stewards of the time that God has given us day after day, and put that energy and effort and time back into the thing that He has deemed important for us. Because here's the thing, everything on our personal list and our business list, we deem as super duper important, but God says otherwise, because what He's calling you to, that's the important thing. So ask Him to help you. Ask the Holy Spirit to help you figure out what you can eliminate altogether. That's my favorite one, is just scratching stuff off and getting it out of your life so that you make time for the God thing that He's called you to. So pause the video now, have some fun on this, and then comment below this video and let me know how this is going so far. All right, here is my favorite, last but not least, it's time to take action. Here is your homework. I need you to set aside time to seek Jesus and surrender the lies that is holding you back. I need you to set up a morning quiet time. This is your action step. That includes journaling, prayer, daily Bible reading. And if you need help with this, I have some free resources that I've linked below to help you with journaling and prayer and Bible reading. And your first action step is to complete this workbook, the Clarity on Your Calling workbook. And then my favorite part is get excited for what's next. Get excited for what's next. That goal that you set, that dream that He gave you, that vision board that you made, this is what's next for you. And for a lot of you, it's going to be completing the knowledge business course. For a lot of you, I want to encourage you to do the thing that God's calling you to do. That is why you signed up for this Clarity for Your Calling workshop. It's because you are ready to do the thing. You're ready to get clear and confident on what He's calling you to. But there's no point in getting clear and confident what He's calling you to do if you don't take the action and actually doing the thing that He's calling you to. So I am here for you. I am praying for you. And if you have questions about anything that you did and through this workshop, I want you to comment below on this video. And I will get back to you ASAP. But trust me, friend, know that God is with you. I am praying for you, and He has really, really big plans for what's next.